one of your youth services librarians here at the South Huntington Public Library. Today, I am so utterly excited to be here with you all because I have a fantastic program that I'm so excited to share with everyone at home. Today, we are going to be making our very own cow banks. And the reason for this is because it is Cow Appreciation Day. Now, I don't know if any of you at home know this about me, but cows are my most favorite animal in the entire world. Now, I know some of you may know me well and you're saying, hey, Miss Liz, I thought sloths were your favorite. I love sloths, but cows have been my favorite since I was about 3 years old, and I have loved them ever since. So any chance I get to celebrate these awesome, fun, cute, adorable creatures, I am here for it. Now, this celebration was designed as a grab and go for the South Huntington Public Library, so hopefully you moved your way on down to the library to pick up your grab and go bag with most of the supplies that you're going to need. So what I'm going to need you all to do is go and grab those bags, make sure you have a nice clean area to work with, and we are going to get this program started. So to get this program started, we are going to go through some of the supplies that are in your grab and go bags from the library. The first thing you're going to find in that bag is going to be your cow bank. You're also going to find a bunch of paint. You should have red, blue, yellow, white, and black. And lastly, there should be a paintbrush included in your grab and go bag. The other things from around the house that you're going to want to grab are going to be a cup of water and some paper towels to make sure we can clean up our mess when we're done. Lastly, what I would recommend grabbing, but you don't need to have on hand, is a pencil. This is great if you want to sketch out some of our designs before we put the paint to the cow, but again, you don't have to sketch it out if you don't want to. Now to get started, we're going to make sure we have a nice clean area, and we are going to begin by tracing our cow spots on the cow. Now, because this is your bank, feel free to make your spots as big, as little, as wobbly, as symmetrical as you want them to be. I usually like to make them look like a nice piece of paint splatter. That's what I think a cow design looks like, but make sure to make it your own and put however many or however little you want on your cow. After you have your spots traced out on your cow, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just kind of trace out his nose. That's just so I know where I'm going to put my paint later on. Again, just like tracing out the spots, this step is completely optional. Feel free to do it if you like a nice guide to paint with, or feel free to skip it if you just want to paint it willy-nilly and make this cow look like your own artistic masterpiece. It is whatever you want it to be. So here's my 360. It's just a nice round circle around his nose. I see that he needs a few more spots on his face, and then I just kind of clean him up a little bit, and then we're going to get painting. Once I have most of my spots drawn out, I then attempt to write moolah on my cow bank because I thought that would be funny and cute. However, the beauty of and why I recommend using pencil is because I realized I didn't really like the way this looked as much as I thought I would in my head. So the great thing is that I can now take the eraser of my pencil and totally erase that design idea. It wasn't for me, and I can keep going from there. So that is why I recommend using a pencil. Again, you don't have to, but I like it because I can kind of test out some theories before I put paint to my cow. So now that I have the surface exactly the way I want it to, the cow looks how I want it, I'm going to take my paintbrush, I'm going to make sure that it's dry, and we're going to start mixing up some of our paints. So I'm going to set my cow aside for a few minutes, and we're going to talk a little bit about the colors that we can make using what was included in your grab and go bag. So as you can see, we're going to start off with 5 colors. These are called primary colors for those that are in school and have learned about this. They can be then used to make your secondary colors. So if I want some orange, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some yellow and some red, and I'm going to mix it together. Now you can use a paint palette like I have in this video, or a paper plate works just as well as this does, Whatever kind of surface you don't mind getting paint on is what you're going to use. Then once you have your orange mixed up, you're going to make sure to clean off your brush really well before you mix your next color, because we don't want any of our paints to combine to make a color we're not expecting. And then once you have it looking the way you want, we are going to mix up our next color. So now what I'm going to do is I want some purple, because purple is my favorite color. So I'm going to create that by using some blue and some purple. I'm going to make that by using some blue and some red and mixing it up in an empty space to create the purple that I want. And the good thing about this is I can keep adding more colors depending on how I want this purple to look. So here I am just adding more red. I wanted it to be a nice bright purple. As you can see, it's a little dark right now for me, but I just keep mixing it and keep adding in more paint until I get it to be the color I want. So I hope that you do the same at home to mix up some colors. Once I have my purple looking purpley enough for me, I'm going to once again wash off my brush, and we are going to make the last color that we need for this palette right now. I'm going to mix my blue, and we're going to mix some yellow with that blue, and we're going to create a nice green shade that we can use for our cow. So once again, make sure that you're cleaning off your brush as you're picking up the different colors, just so that you don't muddy all of the paint together. And then kind of just swirl it around until all of your paint is mixed and it is the color that you want. Now, if any of these colors are too bright or too dark for you, what you can use is that black and that white paint to now lighten it or darken it depending on what kind of shade you're looking for. Once again, though, just make sure that you clean off your brush. So as you can see, I'm still not happy with my purple, so I took a little bit of white to mix it in to give it a nice purple color. And this is exactly the shade I was looking for. And it was great because I got to customize it based on what I wanted, just like you can do at home for the paint that you want to use for your cow. Then once you have your paints all set, you're going to give your brush one more good clean. Make sure all of those paint is out of those bristles. And you're going to start by painting your cow. So now what I recommend and what I suggest, but you don't have to listen to me, is that you start by doing one color spot at a time. This is so that we're not transferring our brush too many times between too many different colors, and then we get like a yucky color that we're not looking for. So here I am starting with black, and then you can go in with your other colors. Once I've finished painting in all of my black spots, I'm going to clean my brush, make sure all of that black paint is out of those bristles, and I am going to start painting my next color spot. So the next color that I want to do is going to be purple, but again, yours can look any way you want. If you want a traditional cow, keep making those spots black. If you want to paint the whole thing stripes and polka dots, by all means go for it. It's your cow, so make it look how you want. But this is just what I'm going to do. So next up are the purple spots, and then we're going to come in with our next color. So before we continue painting, there is one color I forgot to mix up that I knew I wanted on my cow, and if you are anything like me, you may want this color as well. We forgot to create some pink. So to do this, I'm going to take a little bit of the red paint that we still have left, and I'm going to then wash my brush and make sure it is nice and clean. And then I'm going to pick up some of that white paint and mix it in with the red to make it a little bit lighter and to give it that nice pink color. This is because I want my cow to have a nice bright pink nose. But again, if you don't want to use pink and you want your cow to have a green nose, by all means, make it whatever color you want. So now here I've got the pink that I want to use. I'm just going to dab it off my brush a little bit, and I'm going to go around that circle that I traced around his nose, and I'm going to just paint it all nice and pink. So again, take your time, go slow, and make your cow's face look however you want it to look like. It can look like mine, it can look different, as long as it looks like you and what you want to create. once the nose is done, you can now go in and keep detailing your cow. So I wanted to give mine some pink inside of the ears. Again, this step is totally optional. All of this is just how I want my cow to look. Yours can be completely different. It is whatever you want to do. And so I'm just going to kind of speed up the rest of the process because I don't want your cow to look like my cow unless you want it to look like my cow, in which case go for it. But feel free to paint it and have fun and really, really, really go crazy with this. The last tip I'm going to give you while you're painting your cow, though, is that if you want to give him some nice eyeballs and some nice nose nostrils, what I recommend doing is using the opposite end of your paintbrush, that pointy end, dipping it just a teeny bit in black ink and kind of creating dots that way. It's going to give you a more precise circle and a more precise thing on your cow than using the brush. That gets a little messy because it's bigger. So you just kind of dot it on. If this is too hard, you can also find some Q-tips at home. That may be easier. It's entirely up to you, but like you can see here, the paintbrush end works perfectly. Just be really careful and have a steady hand when you're doing it, and you will have the perfect set of eyes and the perfect nose on your cow. So once those are done, feel free to continue decorating your cow however you want and having fun. Once your cow is looking to the utter perfection you want it to be, the last thing I would like you to do is to sign your cow so that you know that this is your bank and your moolah. So what you're going to do is you're going to take that paintbrush, or if it's easier, you can also use a Sharpie, permanent marker, or a colored pencil, and you're just going to write your initials right on the belly of the cow. This is just in case you or your siblings have the same banks, you know exactly whose is whose, and nobody is getting accused of taking your money. So you're just going to put it on the bottom, and then your bank is good to go. I recommend setting it aside and letting it dry for a few hours, and then coming back to it, and it's ready to use. So here is my cow all dry. We're going to put that plastic piece back in it that I took out at the beginning, just because it was easier to paint without it in there. And my cow is ready to go. So here you can see me saving up my coins, but I'm going to face him around to see you because he's a lot cuter from the front. And there you have it. The bank is done. Thank you all so much for joining me for today's utterly fantastic program. I hope you made some cool, creative, and colorful banks at home that you can use to save up your moolah at home. If you want to share your creations, please feel free to send me an email at the email address below, showing off your fantastic cow banks. On behalf of the South Huntington Public Library, I would just like to thank you all for joining me today. We miss you all so much, and we can't wait to see you soon. Take care and have a great day. Bye.